All right, good people. Whew, man, I got the same hairdresser as always, me, and I got stuff popping up everywhere. And so anyway, um, today this is the Gratitude Show. My name is Matt Hawkins, and I'm going to talk about how gratitude. Can we be grateful for feminism? I've always had a dim view. I'm gonna be honest, because most of the people that professed it were very, very angry or upset, and so it was very tough to connect with that energy. So, um, I've never found it to be supportive of egalitarianism or humanitarianism. It's a you know it cloaks itself in equality when we know that in certain biological ways, which means in certain emotional ways and thought patterns, we are different. And are we of equal value? Yes. Are we equal in everything? No. That would be ridiculous if we were equal in everything. We were complementary in from the beginning, biologically speaking. So to profess some other structure for um, men and women is for me you know a demonic task because you're going against God, and so who are you going for, right? I understand that you're using women to do it, but or women, the idea of women being suppressed. Um, so you know, some people would say that women were protected. They were protected from having to endure earlier. From my cousin talking about, your grandma wasn't staying at home and doing the right thing because she was a morally superior person, is because she was restricted. And one of those restrictions was buying a house. Okay, I get it. But looking at how, all of the work involved with maintaining a home, and the eviction rates for women in particular are pretty high. So the mortgage forfeiture rates are pretty high. So maybe, I don't know, maybe our ancestors were protecting women from experiencing those types of failures. So the rush to be equal, I think, has failed us in the sense that you know equal how. So it's either um, a grab for supremacy, meaning not equal but better, because most feminists want to maintain all of the privileges of traditional 1950s life, but they want the power, the same amount of power that men have. And by just the math, that's supremacy. And so for me, I've always had a dim view. As I said, it's just not healthy. It's not a healthy energy when we have many things that we can work on together. So, um, I'm never making the case that men are superior to women. I believe that we have equal value in the biological construction that is our life, what we were born into. So to try to change that seems like, um, you know, a certain kind of blasphemy for me. Um, you know, but here's the upside. I think that there is a way that feminism could really, really, really supercharge America. Uh, I believe that if feminism um, messaged or created the narrative that women are going to work harder and be more committed to the things that matter, I think that would be a wonderful use of feminist ideology. Um, for instance, um, okay, we're gonna, yeah, we carry the big bricks and the big packs of roofing materials up to the roof, but we can't learn languages. We can be really good at languages. We can teach our husbands. We can teach our families. We can teach our communities. We can create international business opportunities because of our facility for language. That's a pretty big one because that would really move the country forward. Like overnight, we would be back in a very, very prominent economic position. Um, where now we're in, you know, besides outside events, wars in Iran or other places, our economy is kind of, plateaued. And the other piece of it is less kids, certainly less kids in healthy environments, healthy families, two parent families, healthy two parent families. So I think that the other piece is that instead of preaching against marriage, you know, updating the role, cooking and cleaning on even really big things these days because everything's so convenient. What I think is happening is that women are bored to death. Like, I haven't done anything all day, and they get trapped and seduced into these rabbit holes, right? Um, like the Lindsay Clancy case, right? There's too much time on their hands, and I think the Bible has said that the what's the devil's workshop? I'm sorry, what, what was that? The devil's workshop is the idle mind. So I think in a way, while we were trying to give women grace and space, um, we gave them too much. I'm just saying, like, uh, I know a lot of women that have never really worked a job. They worked a little some here. They had a project they wanted to pay for. They worked for a little while. They uh, struggled to have enough hours to qualify for Social Security. And I just think that that's a tremendous waste of human potential. So language is one way that I think I talked about. Feminism can help improve the situation instead of being on attack mode. What's the point of us attacking each other? You and why? How can this not be considered a form of treason or a form of mutiny, if you will? Um, when we, or a civil war. So for me, the current feminist ideology basically sets up a civil war that we, just in the black communities, that civil war is costing us 360,000 black babies per year. And then another 5,000 by murder and probably another 5,000 by incarceration. So the losses are staggering. And the white community has a certain problem with abortion as well. So in general, we're going to experience a population shrink, I call it. And that's going to have some serious impacts. And people are going to be like, well, why? Well, in short, people are money. That's the society that we live in. The more people you have, the more money you have. The more money you have, the more things you can build, the more conveniences you can build, the more services that are available in the system. Um, You know, so conversely, as you began to lose population, you began to lose money, you began to lose services, you began to lose conveniences. And depending on how far it goes, you could even lose your sovereign status. So, not sovereign citizen, but sovereign as in the whole country. And, believe it or not, these are very real possibilities. And what we do today shapes that. So, we can argue about it or we can find out how to get better. But the Civil War kind of energy, feminism is absolutely toxic to the country. It's toxic to the. It's even toxic to the women that do it. Like everybody dies. How nihilistic is that? That's a big word for someone that wants everybody to die. Suicidal plus. Uh, they're gonna take you with them. So I'm just saying, ladies, is that something that you really want to be a part of? Do you really want to have to do the same things I do? Do you really want to carry the weight that I carry? Do you really want to have to read the books and go through the training that I did? Do you want to serve in the military in an engine room, 120 degrees, 100% humidity? Really? Is that what you want to do? Or do you just want to be in charge of all that? Latter, that means that you are a maniac and you need to check yourself. And you should want to have to do what I do. You're not built for it. You pass out. They'd have to find a room with air conditioning for you in an engine room where there's no air conditioning, or the boiler room, or the flight deck, where planes are coming in at 220, 240 miles an hour, grabbing a cable and decelerating all the way down to zero in about 200 feet. Anything can go wrong. And people die out there every day, and it's never reported. Do you really want to do what men do? So, the next war that happens, are you going to volunteer to go fight? Are you going to volunteer the next battle? Listen, we're equal. Never hear that energy. When it's time to die, oh no, I'll see you when you get back. Bye bye. So I'm just saying, let's be adults and let's call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do the hard work, how can you possibly want the payout unless you have the mind of a thief? Do you have the mind of a thief? And is it healthy for you? Because that's going to show up in other places in your life, seeming to be going pretty well, but then all of a sudden your mind says, "Hey, you could get this and do that," and then you're done. You're embarrassed. Now you can't work anywhere because you got caught stealing. So yeah. So what I'm saying is that the mind of a thief isn't something that just you know frustrates men. It really sabotages your own life because you have an expectation of getting stuff that you haven't earned, and that is always going to backfire on you. And some people, for a while, when you're younger, when you're pretty, or when you're attractive, or when you're, able to move real good, people are going to give you some chances. Yeah, they're gonna go for it. Make you think, hey, this is normal. And that's the worst thing they can do to you. The worst thing. And I feel sorry for attractive women because everybody lies to them. The women, the men, the police officers, the judges. I mean, everybody lies to them because they want to be with them, right? or they are attracted to them. And so instead of telling the truth, they try to keep everything non-confrontational, no conflicts involved, because we're gonna party. And I'm just saying, it's silly because, yeah, it's almost a curse. Especially being an attractive black woman. So, um, yeah. So we talked about language. We talked about reinforcing their roles as mothers, as parents. I think creating safety systems and secure systems for children using phones. I think that that's a major place that we really need some help. I don't believe a kid, under 16, 17 years old should have a cell phone. I, Not one that connects to the World Wide Web. If you got one that just calls people, no problem. But if you have a device that connects to the World Wide Web, I want you to just think about what you're inviting into the home of your child, into the bedroom, into the bed of your child. Some people can do it with filters and this and that, but what I realize is that kids are very smart. And if they have a problem, they're going to talk to their friends, and their friends are probably going to figure it out. And they're going to work right around the problem. Access or no access. I think that's the standard. And I think that mothers are uniquely qualified to create and build those kinds of standards in ways that are not so authoritarian. You know, Me personally, my children, no, just don't even think about it. Um, yeah, very limited access to the internet until they're old enough to be responsible for themselves. Sorry. That's what it is. That's what I think wins, right? You can play all the games in between and talk about what they miss and whatever. They have the rest of their life to catch up. In the meantime, they're going to get the skills and the abilities that they need to be successful in life, in real life. So don't just take the phone, but also insert into them the skills and abilities that they need. From people skills to soft skills to scholarly skills to language skills. I'm saying there's a lot that can be done in that space, and a lot that needs to be done with our children in this country. Falling behind, Chinese and other countries are just crazy way ahead of us and our children. And we're finding out that our children can't even read English. So, in that way, I think that feminism can really help America. It can help our children. Um, the other thing is to really push. Hey, listen, if you're gonna have a child, take a class or two on parent. It's only the most important role that you'll ever have in your life, and I don't care what job you have, what you've done. I feel that way even as a man. So this isn't a thing for females. When I had a chance to really parent my son, it was the best experience of my life, for real. Like the only time that I've ever experienced pure love. Just so I don't understand people that are like children are a burden. Man, get out of here. So yeah, we can get better at parenting by simply focusing and learning what's good and what's bad and stop making it up out of the back pocket and going from calamity to calamity, chaos to chaos. Plan something out. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I talk to somebody and they just had a small child, and I ask them, I say, "Hey, so what's your plan for your child, or what do you want them to grow up to be?" And they say something like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna let them be whatever they want to be." The biggest form of parental abandonment on the planet. How does your child know what they should be without knowing what all of the options are, or a good many of the options? While here you are, you've lived much longer than they have, so you should have a much better idea of what's available, what's a good option, what's a bad option, what to shoot for. Um, and just to tell your kid you can do whatever you want to, that always turns out the same way. They're going to be a bum because they're going to find the lowest watermark and they're going to stay right there because you said it was cool. I don't know if people are doing it because they're bums and they didn't do anything with their lives, but listen, even if you messed up your life, even if you had help messing up your life, please don't do that to your kids. Please just pick something and tell them that they can be this great thing. Don't be vague, be specific. I think you'd make a great heart surgeon. I think you'd make a great director of movies. Okay, give them something to shoot for that you know will be dope. I think you make a great race car driver. I think you make a great basketball player. I think you would really be a great college professor one day. Or you look like the kind of kid that can be the owner of a Fortune 500 company. You just got to put your mind to it. Give your kids something to reach for so that their mind is not taken over by the demons that possess the internet, society, most times their own homes. I love my father, and that's one of the people that I'm most grateful for in the world. He used to, and it sounds silly, but he used to get these magazines, Popular Science and Popular Mechanics. And he'd read them, and he'd go through them, and he'd come over and, ask me what I thought about this or that. And I know he didn't really want to know what I thought. I'm a kid. But I was so pumped that he had asked me, right? I immediately gained an interest. Immediately, like, okay, let's go. So for me, it was a game, and I didn't even know what he was really doing or teaching me, but he was basically leading me to places that he thought were dope. Guess what I ended up doing? Engineer in the Navy, nuclear engineer in the United States Navy. Was it that moment? I don't know, but I think it was. And it doesn't take a lot. He worked his jobs, he did his thing, but he put in programs that led to successful outcomes. Because of you're experiencing bad outcomes, well, those are programs put in for that too. Today you have to be worried about that being a program from somebody online, from far away in another country, in the basement, eating bonbons and texting your daughter. So yeah, I think securing the households as it relates to technology, managing that very closely, very seriously. I think that's something that women can bring to the modern household. Uh, and I like to hear what you think. So I don't want to do that conversation about men and women being different and better and da 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 da. No, I want to say, okay, feminism it's about women, right? It's about promoting women. Okay, well, let's not promote women as a gender, but let's promote women as a valued contributor to society. Because if it keeps going this way, I have a feeling that we're going to be voting to repeal the 19th Amendment. And with Lindsay Clancy, I think, and people that are inspired by her popping off left and right, I think that we're going to get there sooner than later. And those restrictions that people complained about, that women complained about in the past, I think there would be more that the case has been made for the last 50 years that maybe that wasn't the worst thing that a society could do, especially a society that was chivalrous, a society that was protecting women. And sometimes that protection felt like confinement, but that's the nature of protection. Sometimes, if you've never experienced something, how do you know what you're being protected from? If you've never seen a tiger, how would you know? Hey, listen, this tiger is fast, it's strong, it's powerful. It will pop through one of these little wooden doors on a house in a heartbeat. We got to go somewhere super safe. But if you don't know that, you're gonna be standing out there looking, oh, it's a tiger. I'm gonna close the door. Man, no. So what I'm saying is that if you haven't encountered stuff, how can you know if you're being protected? Now, this requires some trust. Um, and I think trust goes both ways. Men trust women on a lot of stuff. We have to take women's word on stuff a lot. And before DNA, we were given some dirty poison pills. Some dirty take a brother out lies about paternity. And yeah, so I think that the secret is to find ways to work together, and that feminism can be the banner under which that is organized, right? Languages, internet security, cybersecurity, basically, home cybersecurity. Um, you know, really finding ways to prepare better for parenting. Um, I've asked several women lately, mothers, 4 year olds, mothers of 20 year olds, mothers of 6 month olds. You know, some of them had been to college, some of them had graduated college, and not even the college degree people had taken a single class on parenting. Imagine that, not a single class. So, what are you doing? So, education is important, except for when it comes to the most important role in history. Education is important, except for when it comes to parenting. Makes no sense at all. At this point, the only degree, if it was my world, the only degree that a modern woman could get would be parenting. It's just that bad. And I'm not trying to be restrictive. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to focus all of this education energy in a place that makes sense, that's logical. So if you find it restrictive, then show me how your program or lack of a program has worked. We've had child support for 40, almost 50 years. Show me where you've done better with these kids, man. Show me. I'll wait. I can show you some stuff about how horribly you've done, how men have shown to be better parents than you, the biological nurturer. You have to be trying to flunk something that you were born to do. I'm just saying. Um, if you don't like, grateful for the opportunity to be a competent, productive member of society, I don't know, and I hope that you don't at the same time think that you're a Christian or in any way committed to God or godly principles. Yeah, no, it's God or Satan. So if you're not doing what God said, who are you? I think we got a lot of confusion, a lot of gray area where there is none, and I think that's one of the biggest tricks of Satan is to make you think that evil doesn't exist when it's sitting right next to you, when it's online talking to you, when it's on TV lying to you. So, yeah, how cool would it be if I could convince someone that I wanted to hurt that I didn't even exist? This is just my thoughts. This is my feelings. This is my soul. Comes from somewhere, darling. Comes from somewhere. And if you don't know the source, what do you think the chances are that it's good? I'm just saying, like, listen, we have got to get serious about being adults, about doing the things that we know will make things better, and get off of these pity, petty, party, identity crises, psychoses, games, because that's what they are. We have real work to do in this world. Like, when was the last time you heard about somebody doing something amazing in the black community, like inventing something, doing something amazing? When? We're so focused, and I think that has spread to the rest of America. We're not concerned about excellence or achievement or advancing or growing anymore. We're fighting over the spoils of victory. That's literally what we're doing. We're fighting over the spoils of victory. We got so comfortable. We got so far along the road. Somebody turned around and said, "Hey, wait! I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get." And it may be true, but you cannot do that at the expense of progress. Sorry, the price is too high. 360,000 abortions per year, 1,200 per day. That's a pretty high price for freedom. My body, my choice. And let me just close on this. I think the whole abortion thing is so jacked up. Let's just keep it real. If you're being fair, if you're being honest, and you're a good person, if it takes two people to create something, don't both people have? We have eliminated the ownership of men categorically. Like, your body, your choice. Well, then give me my sperm back. My sperm, my choice. And then subsequently be forced by the courts to pay child support for a child that we may not have wanted or intended to have, especially with this person. So I just think there's so much inequity there that it'll never be straight. And I think that probably the best system that we could come up with is, well, if you want to have this child, ma'am, you're going to sign a waiver saying that you will never seek child support or any other benefit from the father. If the father chooses to be involved, that's his choice. But you will have no rights over him. You have no power over him. This is your body, your choice. So that means that's your responsibility. Now, if y'all agree, to be together and raise a child, that's fantastic. But you cannot basically hijack his sperm and then charge him for the rest of his life for said hijacking. It's so evil. It is in no way fair. It is in no way righteous. It is in no way humane. I don't know. I wish I had been more disciplined when I was younger, but The reality is I may have had several of my children aborted and I didn't even know it. They don't need to tell me. They go do what they want to do. Their body, their choice, right? But if they choose to have the child and they want help, now all of a sudden it's my responsibility. And I think that's where we fall down on it, right? If you want to do that, then fine. And I think that system would work because women would not profit from hijacking. And that woman that would hijack someone's precious DNA is not a good woman. They're not. Um, so, you know, if it was fair and balanced, I think that we would have a lot less of them. Sometimes too much power is just that, too much. And it is your demonstration of how you use that power that defines whether or not you should have it. And I just think that if per year, 360,000, do you, and here's the other part. Black women are the same women that talk about birth control, being allergic to birth control. Then if you're allergic to birth control, you have to be a virgin when you get married. You can't be out here sticking and moving. You can't. Condoms break. And to keep it real with you, I don't even think condoms are the issue. I think that most modern young women today have an appetite for raw, no condom. And that's the spread of venereal diseases and STDs and STIs and whatever new name they got for it is evidence. And it's interesting that the most rapidly spreading group with AIDS is Black women. Not Black men, Black women. Very, very interesting to me. Seems that they have a taste for the saucy boys. They have a taste for crossing that line and getting them some of that sweet wine. Mm. Things done in the dark shall come to the light, ladies. I don't know why y'all think y'all can have all these secrets and y'all can have all of these shenanigans. Not an evil, wicked secret. So, um, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity that modern women can really bring to this country, but they have to focus and they got to stop fighting the men who helped them get to where they are. Anytime your feminist friends are running around talking about how women were abused and woo woo and restricted, just ask them who voted for the 19th Amendment. Yeah, just ask them, like, and then lean real close so you can hear them, because this is gonna be tough. It's just gonna be hard for them to say it. It's just gonna be, well, women couldn't vote. Okay, no, that wasn't what I asked you. What I asked you was who voted for the 19th Amendment. Say the word. Say it. Right. Perhaps. I'm going to close the dough and go get some Joe. But perhaps if you try the gratitude approach, yeah, baby, yeah, now we smoking. If you try the gratitude approach, you might get some motion. You might get some beautiful motion. You might get some amazing things to happen in your life. Instead of telling your husband how day was horrible, all the shit that went wrong, tell him how grateful you are. Yeah, yeah, amazing, right? So I'm gonna close on an up note. Tell somebody that's important in your life how you are grateful and for what you are grateful. I dare you. I dare you. You're scared. You won't do it. You're scared, a coward, an emotional coward, a spiritual sissy. You won't do it. Your feet you can't even walk in them shoes. Strong and independent and tough. But you're a coward. A strong, independent coward is the worst kind of coward because it look like they can fight. It look like they can go. And as soon as you get them on your team, they fold up. The worst cowards. I dare you. Go tell somebody that you are grateful for what they do in your life. We want to talk about ending the cycle. We want to talk about ending the curse. Literally. Shut up. Go tell somebody that has been instrumental in your life how much you appreciate them. Stop talking about how much you love them. That weak, hollow, cowardly shit. Go tell them how much you appreciate them. That you're grateful that they're in their life, that they're in your life, that they give you time and energy, tolerance and patience. Nah, sounds too much like right. Cowards don't like that. Demons don't like that. They want to offend the person that looks out for them. Sound like you? That sound like you? You like hurting the people that look out for you. You get a little thrill out of it, like a little demon. Yeah. But if you want to change your life, if you have the courage to be a human, go tell somebody. No, go tell everybody that is giving you kindness, grace, money, attention. Go tell them how grateful you are. My name is Matt. This is the Gratitude Show. We can't wait to get back and do this again. All right, talk to you later.